In chapter 10, Paul is going to appeal to the Old Testament to make his point to the Corinthian church about living to honor God. And then we're going to see in a minute, he's going to circle back then and talk a little bit more about what he was talking about with the food sacrifice to idols issue back in chapter 8. He says, I don't want you to forget, dear brothers and sisters, about our ancestors in the wilderness long ago. All of them were guided by a cloud that moved ahead of them, and all of them were walked through the sea on dry ground. Then he says this in verse 6, these things happened as a warning to us so that we would not crave evil things as they did. As you read this, you'll see what he's talking about. And so he appeals to the Old Testament a little bit. And then he draws this conclusion. If you think you're standing strong, be careful not to fall. Remember, they had spiritual pride and they were consumeristic Christians. And so he's trying to be real practical with them here. He says, the temptations in your life are no different from what others experience, and God is faithful, just like he was in the Old Testament. He will not allow the temptation to be more than you can stand. And when you're tempted, he will show you a way out so that you can endure. So I'll let you read that for yourself. But then right here in verse 19, he's sort of ties it back into what he was talking about in the previous 2 chapters. He says, what am I trying to say? Am I saying that food offered to idols has some significance, or that idols are real gods? Again, he makes the point again. And he, once again, in verse 23, he says, you say I'm allowed to eat anything or to do anything, but not everything is good for you, he says. And you say I'm allowed to do anything, but not everything is beneficial. Remember, he already said that in chapter 8, but he's coming back and reiterating the point. He says, don't be concerned for your own good, but for the good of others. Don't be selfish and self-centered and self-focused as a follower of Jesus. Be other-centered, right? And so he concludes here at the end. He says, whatever you eat or drink, whatever you do it all for the glory of God. Don't give offense to Jews or Gentiles or to the church of God. And then he says this in verse 33, I too try to please everyone in everything I do. I don't just do what is best for me. I do what is best for others. Why? So that many may be saved. And so he again is emphasizing this truth that in the Christian life, we should love God and we should love others and we should love ourselves third. We shouldn't flip it upside down and love ourselves first. We should love God first, and that causes us to love others and put their needs ahead of ours. And that is what the Christian life is all about. And that's what Paul says here in this chapter. So you're ready to read chapter 10. We'll see you tomorrow for chapter 11.